I didn't catch my partner cheating with my best friend. I didn't check her phone. I didn't follow anyone. I didn't even confront them. Instead, the truth exposed them completely on its own. And when it finally came out, it destroyed my relationship, my friendship, and every lie they thought they had hidden. The strange part is, the warning signs had been there for weeks. Small things, weird moments, little behaviors that didn't make sense. At the time, I kept telling myself I was imagining things. But looking back now, those signs were the beginning of everything falling apart. My best friend had been part of my life for years. We met when we were younger and stayed close through everything: school, work, relationships, late-night conversations about life. He was the one person I never questioned. If he needed help, I helped. If he called, I answered. If he showed up at my house, the door was always open. So when he started coming over more often, I didn't think much of it. Sometimes he'd visit when I was home. Other times he'd stop by while I was still at work. My partner would casually text me and say, "Your friend stopped by earlier." Or, "He came by to return something." It all sounded normal, at least in the beginning, but after a while I started noticing small things that didn't sit right with me. Nothing obvious, just little details. The way they talked to each other, the way they laughed together. Not just normal laughter, but the kind where two people look at each other a little longer than they should. Sometimes they had inside jokes I didn't understand. Moments that clearly happened when I wasn't around. And every time I walked into the room unexpectedly, something changed. Their conversation would stop for a second. Their body language would shift. They'd move slightly farther apart, like two actors adjusting positions before the audience noticed something. At first, I ignored it, because the alternative felt ridiculous. Why would my partner betray me with my best friend? Those were the two people I trusted the most. So instead of questioning it, I convinced myself I was overthinking, but that uncomfortable feeling in my stomach kept coming back. Quiet, persistent, like my instincts were trying to warn me about something I didn't want to see. Then one night, something happened that made that feeling much stronger. We were having a small get-together at my place. Nothing big, just a few friends, some food, quiet music playing in the background. At one point, my phone rang and I stepped outside to answer it. The call only lasted a few minutes, but when I walked back inside, I saw something that made my chest tighten. They were standing in the kitchen, very close to each other, close enough that their shoulders were almost touching. Her hand brushed against his arm, and he didn't move away. Then they noticed me standing there, and both of them froze. Not casually, not naturally, the kind of freeze people do when they suddenly realize someone just saw something they weren't supposed to see. For a moment, the entire room felt quiet, but instead of reacting, I forced a smile. I pretended everything was normal, and the night continued like nothing happened, at least on the outside. That night, I barely slept. My mind kept replaying that moment again and again, the way they looked at each other, the way they froze when they saw me. But even then, I still didn't have proof of anything, so I made a decision. I wouldn't accuse anyone. I wouldn't start arguments. Instead, I would simply watch. Because if something was really happening, eventually the truth would reveal itself. Over the next few weeks, things became stranger. My best friend started asking me for money. At first, it was small amounts, then slightly bigger ones. Every time there was an excuse: unexpected bills, problems at work, bad timing, and because he was my best friend, I helped him. But during the same time, my partner started acting differently too. She spent more time on her phone late at night. Sometimes I'd notice her smiling while texting, and the moment I walked closer, she would lock the screen. Then one day I noticed something that made my stomach drop. She had changed her phone password. She had never done that before. When I asked about it, she shrugged and said, "I just felt like it." Simple answer, But something about it didn't feel simple. A few days later, the truth started revealing itself. I received a message from someone I barely knew, a coworker of my best friend. The message said, "I think you should know something about your friend." Apparently, my best friend had been seeing someone from his workplace for a while, and according to this person, people at work already knew about it. At first, my heart started racing because one thought crossed my mind immediately. Was he cheating on my partner too? But the more I asked questions, the more complicated everything became. Because the woman he was seeing had no idea my partner even existed, which meant one thing: my best friend wasn't loyal to anyone. He was lying to everyone at the same time. And eventually, those lies exploded. The woman he was secretly seeing found out about my partner. She confronted him at his workplace, right there in front of other people. Voices were raised. Arguments started. Accusations were thrown around, and within hours, rumors spread everywhere. Eventually, the truth reached my partner. That evening, she came home looking completely shaken. Her eyes were red, her hands were trembling. She sat down across from me and quietly said, "We need to talk." But by that moment, I already knew what was coming. So I just listened. She admitted everything: the emotional connection, the flirting, the messages they had been sending each other for weeks, the moments they shared when I wasn't around. She said it started small, just conversations, just jokes, just attention. But over time, it turned into something more. She said she didn't mean for it to go that far. She said she was confused. I didn't yell. I didn't interrupt her. I just listened quietly. When she finished, the room became silent. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and whispered, "I'm sorry." I took a deep breath and said, "I already knew something was wrong." Her face changed instantly. "But I didn't know how the truth would come out," I said. She started crying harder. She said she wanted to fix things. She said she made a mistake. But by then, something important was already gone: trust. And once trust breaks like that, it never really comes back the same. So I told her the only honest thing I could say: "I'm not angry." I paused. "I'm just done." Later that night, my best friend tried calling me over and over again. He left messages trying to explain everything, but I never answered because I didn't need explanations anymore. The truth had already shown me exactly who they really were. So I walked away, not out of revenge, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply leave. And honestly, that was enough. Because in the end, the truth exposed everything on its own, and all I had to do was walk away.